employees and the public that's here and that is also watching. We start every meeting with Everyday Excellence, which recognizes our frontline employees and all the services that they try and provide to our citizens, in some cases 24/7. So today is a special occasion. This is really a three-part exercise. So in capitalizing on having public utilities represented, as a department, they've gotten much national, state, regional attention for years. And all of it's been earned. So today we're putting some faces behind that department. It's really representative faces. If I could fit all 324 here, we would. But we would never have all 324 here because we need someone 24/7 to be doing everything they're getting recognized for. So with that said, I want to introduce George Hayes, the director of the department. And, and again, it goes without saying, behind the department is a leader that not only is an expert in their field, but also has the care and attention to all of his workers. I interact often with Mr. Hayes, and it's a two-part exercise. What does the facilities need to be functional 24/7, and how can we best have the support employees to operate and maintain that same infrastructure? So with that said, I'll turn over to Mr. Hayes with a three-part exercise. One is the recognition of these employees, especially, again, representative employees from the January 6th, quote-unquote, water crisis of the region, for which, again, the Chesterfield became a resource of intelligence, personnel, and actually water in some cases as we pushed water the other direction for those that were most of need, that we had the capacities to help. The second part we're fortunate to have here is State Senator Sertivant. The state passed a resolution in recognition of our Public Utilities Department, so we thought it'd be fitting for our employees here to witness that presentation of the resolution. And then last but not least, what we would have normally done on a regular February board meeting is the recognition of the Public Utilities Employee of the Year, which is really a departmental exercise that they themselves pick amongst their peers, their coworkers, who is representative of the department for that year. So sorry for the long introduction, but as Mr. Hayes always works hard, he's got a hard task in front of him in trying to do all these recognitions as well. Mr. Hayes.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Casey, and Senator Sertivant. I do want to take a minute to thank you for the opportunity to recognize the Department of Utilities today. With me presenting is Matt Rembold. He's our Assistant Director over Operations and Maintenance. As referenced by Dr. Casey, it is really noteworthy that the employees we're getting ready to present before you today are only a small percentage of the 324 exceptional employees that we are able to attract and retain in the Utilities Department. Our ability to hire the best and the brightest in the region really is due to your support, the support of administration, and the support of our Human Resources Department. For that, before we get into the presentation, I do want to thank you for your support. As the board is aware, the Greater Richmond region was impacted by an unprecedented water crisis after the City of Richmond's water treatment plant was compromised after a storm on January 6th. This resulted in a boil water notice and a water conservation notice that lasted for 6 days in the Richmond region. Throughout this crisis, Chesterfield County maintained our safe and uninterrupted water service to more than 360,000 citizens. As the only large water utility in the region with potable water, our staff did not sit back on their success. Instead, they took to immediate action and made extraordinary efforts to support our friends in the region. You recall when I addressed the board in January, I thank you for your continued support of the men and women whose quick and decisive actions isolated Chesterfield County's water supply in the hours that followed the flooding of the Richmond water treatment plant. This immediate action preserved the city's limited remaining water capacity for their customers while protecting Chesterfield utility customers from the adverse impacts that were experienced by thousands of households, numerous businesses, and hospitals in the Richmond region. Today, I want to introduce you to a handful of those dedicated staff, the true unsung heroes that ensure that our customers remain in safe and interrupted water service. And for that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Rembold to introduce some of these employees.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Mr. Chairman, Supervisors, Dr. Casey, and Senator Sertivant, I'd like to echo George's comments about the board's support of our employees. The recent water crisis really highlighted for us the department's core values of being a safe and reliable purveyor of water and wastewater services to the residents of Chesterfield County. We've all taken great pride in the last month in the numerous kudos and messages of thanks we've received from the public for keeping the water flowing in Chesterfield. It was really a large team effort. It would be impossible for us to squeeze all the dedicated staff into this room to have them meet you this afternoon. But I did my best to try to bring some of the key leaders that were essential as part of our response to the water crisis to be recognized by the board today. In total, the department identified 37 employees that, through their efforts, we were able to directly respond to the water crisis. And with that, we were able to help support the region through recovery. First, I'd like to take a moment to introduce three of our leaders in the department. If I could get Chris Overby, Dave Soroy, and Mike Larson to stand up and be recognized. So these three gentlemen are center managers within the department, with Chris Overby overseeing the county's water distribution system. Dave Soroy is the manager of our Addison Evans water treatment plant and laboratory facility. And Mike Larson is the engineering supervisor that oversees the department's engineering technical support section. As the Richmond water crisis unfolded, it was these three gentlemen that led the coordinated efforts of the Chesterfield County Utilities Department through the crisis. It was in large part due to these individuals' skills, knowledge, and abilities that we were able to make this a largely non-event in Chesterfield County. Each of these individuals oversees a tremendous area of responsibility, and we extend our sincerest thanks for all of their hard work and effort through the water crisis. We owe them a lot of thanks. I want to share a sentiment that Chris shared with me when I asked him to join me today to be recognized in front of the board. Chris said, "Matt, I don't feel like we did anything special. We did what we always do. We kept the water flowing." And it's with great pride that I can introduce these staff members to be recognized today at Everyday Excellence, because it's what these guys do every day that is excellent and supports the high-quality life that the residents of Chesterfield County can enjoy. Next, I'd like to introduce you to three gentlemen that took time away from their families to support the regional recovery efforts as the water crisis unfolded. If I could get Tim Luft, Dan Sirocco, and Howard Vaughn to stand up and be recognized. As you can imagine, the City of Richmond's water treatment plant staff and the Henrico County water distribution staff was really working hard, working around the clock to see the boil water advisory lifted in the days following January 6th, when a bitter freezing cold weather snap was forecast for that following weekend. A regional call for mutual aid was fielded by Chesterfield County to support and provide relief for operators at the City of Richmond water treatment plant and provide relief personnel on water main repair crews in Henrico County. It was Tim who raised his hand as a licensed Class II waterworks operator to go assist the City of Richmond taking a shift at the City of Richmond water treatment plant following the crisis. And Dan, as a leak crew foreman, raised his hand along with other repair crew members that worked with Dan to be on standby to respond to Henrico County should a water main break occur that they needed additional staffing resources to respond to. We're fortunate that Chesterfield County was not called to respond to Henrico County in the days following, but we were ready to assist, and that regional cooperation was sincerely appreciated by our friends north of the river. The board may recognize Dan's name from one of the numerous customer kudos messages that we receive. You see, Dan led the crew that responded to the Christmas Day water main repair, in which you'll recall we received a 5-star customer review about the customer service that Dan and his crew provided on Christmas. The customer, you'll recall, was amazed at the speed of the county's response on Christmas Day, as well as Dan's taking the time to explain to the customer what was going on, keeping the affected residents informed as to what was going on in the water distribution system in their neighborhood. This type of excellent customer service is the epitome of everyday excellence, and the department is proud of Dan and all of the repair crew members who sacrifice time spent with their family on the holidays so that our residents can enjoy uninterrupted water service. Last to be recognized this afternoon is Howard Vaughn. Howard is our logistics supervisor and manages the department's parts warehouse. When we learned of the water crisis, it was Howard that reached out to make emergency procurement of cases of bottled water to distribute to our affected residents. Similarly, as Chesterfield began to field requests for bulk water delivery to support the recovery efforts at the region's hospitals, it was Howard who worked through the night and around the clock to supply and provide bulk water delivery to the tanker trucks. The staff and patients at the VCU Trauma Center and the Veterans Affairs Hospital may never meet Howard, but I can assure you that he rendered life-saving aid by facilitating bulk delivery of Chesterfield County water to those hospitals. On behalf of the Utilities Department, I want to sincerely express the gratitude we all feel being recognized by the board today at Everyday Excellence. In utilities, we all take great pride in not being in the news and providing an essential service to improve the lives of Chesterfield's residents. While we truly believe we were just doing our jobs, it became evident last month just how important these jobs are to our residents and the community. We could not be as effective at our jobs without the support we receive from the board. As good as we are, we know we are not perfect, and every employee in utilities appreciates the board empowering us to seek innovative solutions to improve customer service and delivery. That concludes my remarks today, and Department, we'd be happy to take any questions the board may have.
Board members, any questions or comments?
I just want to say thank you for your everyday excellence and continuing to do great things in the community. I know when I first met George, he said, don't worry about calling me anytime. And so I was out just a couple weeks ago, I was out walking my dogs during the freezing time, and I said, George, there's some water rushing out of someone's box. Can you send so? And he's just like, I'll send someone over right away. And so again, it was on a weekend, and he responded like within 5 minutes. So thank you guys all for what you do.
Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for everything that you do. I think sometimes when these things happen, people actually get a reminder of certain things that are important in life, at least for your everyday life, and what we actually, as a community, try to strive and provide. You know, when the power goes out, for example, and people have no power, or when the water goes out and they have no water. I mean, these are two really important things for people in their everyday life. You can probably get away with not having the internet. You can probably get away with not having TV, but you got to have water for sure. It's just another example, which is why we always come to your all staffs that you have every year, because it's so important for us to. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to show it, and we want to make sure we also show how much we appreciate everything you all do. It's amazing stuff, and you're right. We don't want to be in the media. We don't mind being in it for good, but not for bad. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I mean, we'll be talking a little bit about this, I think, throughout the next few weeks. But I just came back from Rwanda, and folks there, the way they get water is they carry 5 and 10 gallon tanks, and they put it on top of their head, and they walk it miles. And everybody has that responsibility. Even the littlest of them are carrying what they can carry when it comes to water. So it's very easy to fall into the trap of entitlement and forgetting about gratitude. And so what was happening in January, I know all of us were sitting in a deep place of gratitude. You don't need to go to Rwanda to get reminded. You all were right there doing what you need to do. And as Matt said quite adeptly, a non-event. And they're the best kind, are those when, you know, everything happened as exactly as it was supposed to unfold in those kind of situations. And my quick text after this whole thing was unfolding was, I'm so proud of Chesterfield and how this unfolded. So thank you all for your hard work, your selflessness. Yeah, just so grateful.
Well, I, for one, am just tired of talking about utilities and how great they are. But we can't stop talking about how great you are because you guys keep on doing so many wonderful things. Again, we do thank you for that. I do think that it's important that not only when Ms. Snyder called you did you respond quickly, but when a citizen on Christmas Day called, they got the same response. It wasn't a response because it was Ms. Snyder calling. It was a response because that's what you do when someone calls about an issue. And I think that's very important for our citizens to know. But I also think it's good we didn't let water run all over the road. So thank you for that, Jessica. And again, I can't thank your department enough. We have lots of opportunities for comments from citizens in the community, and pretty much everyone from utilities is positive. And I can't always say all the comments that we get, probably most of them from our own decisions, but that aren't as positive. So thank you for being a shining light of departments in the county. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for what you've done and what I know you'll do for our citizens in the future. Thank you.
Chairman, if I may very briefly, I just want to thank George and them so much for their operations. I know when I was first elected, I spent an entire day going through your process. And I learned about the stabilization fund and the wonderful things you and your predecessors have done. I appreciate you. Probably one of the few utilities in the region that's a AAA bond rated, and still AAA as I understand it. So I think that's noteworthy. You can borrow at the very best rates to fix the equipment, which is so critically needed. Never wait till it breaks, do it before. I think we've learned that well. So thank you all for your outstanding work and the tremendous job you do for Chesterfield and its citizens. We don't take it for granted. Thank you.
I appreciate all of your comments, and if I could just serve as a little coordinator, I think we can transition. If Senator Sturtevant wouldn't mind coming to the front. Sure. I invite any and all public utility employees to also stand, George and Matt as well, please. And Robert Wilson is here from Appomattox River Water Authority. It goes without saying his role and being his force that he manages at Lake Cheston, that again, that was a much dependent water source, not just for Chesterfield County, but some of Lake Cheston's water actually was pushed across the line into the city of Richmond during this process, which was no easy engineering feat. So I want to recognize him as well. Senator Sturtevant, please.
Thank you, Dr. Casey, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, members of the board. It's an honor to be here with you to recognize these great public utilities employees today. I think it was January 7th or 8th. I drink a lot of water, and I was filling up my Nalgene bottle at home, and I said, you know what? And this was when Hanover was going offline and Henrico was going offline, and it was just affecting everybody around the region. But Chesterfield kept the water on. And I said, I'm going to reach out to Dr. Casey. I just sent him a quick text and said, thanks for, keeping us out of this mess. And he was immediately responded and said, it's the people at Public Utilities and some smart people down there realized we need to throw the switch to get us on Swift Creek Reservoir or whatever it was. I don't know exactly what you guys did, but you did the right thing and you did it quickly. And we were in General Assembly session at the time, and being in the city of Richmond, we didn't have water down there for several days. And you all have a great government affairs representative and Natalie Spillman. I said, Natalie, we need to recognize the public utilities folks for keeping the water on in Chesterfield and helping our regional neighbors, which is great too. But just the fact that you guys were there doing what needed to be done and keeping everything moving and working the way that it's supposed to, just doing your jobs, how much we appreciate that. So I had drafted up a resolution that passed unanimously in both the State Senate and the House of Delegates. It's sponsored by myself and the rest of the Chesterfield delegation. As we were drafting it, I wanted to have more language in there about how we're so much better than the city of Richmond. But Ms. Spillman is more diplomatic, and so we pulled some of that out. So this is something for you guys to put up in the break room or somewhere around, just to kind of commemorate the appreciation and the important work that you did when it was people's lives were literally at risk, and we didn't have that problem in Chesterfield County. So I want to present this to you all. I'm not going to read it, I'm not going to read all of it, but I'll just say the important part, one of the important parts is, whereas after the severe weather event in January 2025 that resulted in limited water service and boil water advisories in several localities, Chesterfield County was able to seamlessly transition to alternative water sources and maintain a normal supply level of safe drinking water. And thanks to the resilient infrastructure, Chesterfield County was also able to provide assistance to individuals affected by the water crisis in the city of Richmond, allowing providers of essential services, including Chippenham Hospital, to maintain operations. Many other things in here. I won't read it all, but it's just a small token on behalf of the Commonwealth of Virginia and your fellow neighbors here in Chesterfield County, just to thank you all for doing good work, and we appreciate you. So thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good job, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, and thank you kindly, Board of Supervisors, and appreciate you having me.
Mr. Chair, I mean, one last comment to them. People have to remember, when the water goes out, you also lose all your water in the fire hydrants. If you look what happened in California, that could be disastrous. And so it's not just critical to have that drinking water, it's also critical to have that public safety.
And I want to thank you for letting us take the time to digress a little bit, but back to, the Employee of the Year. So if you thought it was good, now it's even going to get a little bit better.
Well, thank you, members of the board, and thank you, Senator Sturtevant, for taking time out of your busy schedule to recognize some really well-deserving employees. They sincerely appreciate it, and it really does inspire them to serve our customers even more. So thank you. With that, and keeping with the theme of everyday excellence, I'd like to introduce you to another exceptional utility employee, the Utilities Department 2024 Employee of the Year, Tara Kelly. So, Tara, you actually can come on up. So I'm going to get in trouble after this for making her come up, but it's definitely appropriate. Tara is a customer service representative in our Finance and Administration section with the Utilities Department. And utilities, as you know, we try to foster a culture where employees feel empowered to go above and beyond to serve our customers. Therefore, for Tara to be recognized by her peers for always going above and beyond speaks volume of her character and dedication not only to the department, but to the customers that we serve. As documented in her peer nomination for Employee of the Year, whether she's demonstrating empathy to a widow coming in to close an account, suggesting process improvements for revenue collection, or demonstrating teamwork by picking up extra shifts at the front counter, Tara has distinguished herself among a department with countless deserving employees. The peer who nominated Tara wrote, "Tara has an altruistic approach to not only work life, but also her personal life. She intuitively understands small gestures create large impacts. I have personally witnessed an upset customer leaving smiling, or the relief from her understanding tone, or how a small note on a desk has brightened someone's day. Simply put, a department with exceptional employees like the Utilities Department is made better by employees like Tara." And I'd like to let Tara take a moment if she'd like to say a few words to the board, and if she doesn't, maybe the board would like to say a few words.
Well, I just wanted to thank you guys for having me here. Honestly, I wouldn't be, I don't think, in this position if I didn't have such great mentors. Like when Diane was here, or Melissa, now Amber, they've really pushed me to go out of my comfort zone. So I really appreciate that, and I think that's why I'm here today.
Thank you.
Board members, any comments?
I believe recently you might have helped one of my constituents about turning off a companion meter that they don't use anymore. So
Okay.
thank you so much.
You're
Again,
welcome.
that was something that they had included, I think, the regular email, just the open email for information from you guys. And I reached out to George because I wasn't sure what to do with it. And by the time George and I got around to it, you had already taken care of it, so
Okay,
thank you.
great.
Mr. Chair, considering how many people work for utilities and all of the excellent stories that we constantly get from them, for you to be an Employee of the Year, that's pretty spectacular.
Thank you.
And so thank you, because you are, like many of our employees, you're the voice of the county when people come in and need help. So thank you for what you do.
I just want to say thank you because you inspire others. That makes a difference. You're not a solo person, but you impact others. So thank you for what you do and all you've done. We appreciate your being here today.
Thank you.
And thank you, George, for introducing her.
And thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to echo what Kevin is saying, Mr. Carroll saying, with regard to you're part of an incredible department of incredible people. And for those incredible people to recognize you as someone to be Employee of the Year, Tara, that just shows where you are and the kind of work you do and how much it's appreciated. Sometimes it's just the little things that make really big differences. It's putting your little finger into the water and watching it happen, and I mean quite literally. And so thank you for your hard work. Thank you for what
Thank
you
you so
do.
much.
I've always defined talent as passion and dependability, and you got them both.
Thank you
got
so
talent.
much.
Again, thank you for all the little things apparently that you do that add up to a lot of big things. And also, don't be upset with George, because if he hadn't asked you over there, he knows that I would have. So it'll be my fault, not George's.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members.